What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Tell Me More. Jasmine Crockett exposes MAGA tricks and slams GOP's Epstein's cover up. Let's get right into it. Let's go.
For coming to the last
Thank
word
you.
and for what you're doing. Joining us now
Thank
is
you.
Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett of Texas. She is a member of the House Oversight and Judiciary Committees. Congresswoman, great to see you. What are you doing to assist Texas Democrats that have left the state?
Oh, anything that I can. That is for sure. I think that it's really important to amplify their stories. So thank you for talking to the amazing Gina Hinojosa, who I had an honor of serving with. And absolutely, when we were trying to get out of there last time when I was in the state house, I can remember the conversations that Gina and I had as she was yet a lead architect of making sure that we broke quorum then. The awareness around the issue is really important. People need to understand that, number one, Democrats are fighting back. Number two, they also need to understand that the people that claim to be the party of law and order are nothing but lawless thugs. The fact that they are investing our taxpayer dollars and resources into hunting down duly elected officials instead of, say, going after pedophiles. The fact that they have a bigger issue with those that decide that they want to make sure that they can raise an awareness and raise the voices and issues of their constituents over protecting, say, pedophiles. I mean, the fact that they can't see the difference in why it was that we had to go on recess early versus why it is that these Texas Democrats are real heroes in this moment who are not even fighting for their own seats. This isn't even personal for them. This is about our democracy. This tells you which party is actually the party of morality, and it is absolutely the Democrats.
Congresswoman, have you heard back from the FBI Director Kash Patel or Attorney General Pam Bondi about your letter, the one that I read in the intro?
I have not, but we know that Pam Bondi loves to talk to a certain news network and say what she needs to say. So I'm sure she's in receipt of our letter. I'm sure that I would hear something from that news network before I hear something in more of a formal fashion, as we sent her something in our official capacity in a formal fashion.
Yeah, Congresswoman, what do you make of Democratic governors like California Governor Gavin Newsom planning to counter the Texas map? Do you worry at all that this will just set off a long chain of state redistrictings?
No, I don't worry at all, because let me tell you something. When Republicans decide that they want to go to hell on something, they go for the jugular. Like, they don't hold back, right? So here's the reality. We understand that J.D. Vance is in Indiana right now trying to twist arms so that they can get 2 seats there. We understand that he has been putting pressure on Missouri to try to get 1 seat there. In fact, there are rumors that they already have the map for Missouri. We understand that Florida has already decided that they're going to move forward. So these people do not care about doing what is right by the people that elected them and put them into power. Because when I say that I'm fighting, it's not even a partisan fight that I'm engaging in. I'm engaging in a fight for democracy, a fight that allows people to be held accountable when it is that the people are not liking what you're doing. And we know what the poll numbers are. We know what it is when the Republicans show up in their very red districts and their constituents are coming out and yelling at them and telling them that they hate the big ugly bill. We know what it is. And so I think that while it is that he thinks that he's being very smart in this moment, when we know it's nothing more than just him being evil, I really believe in the people. I am believing that those very same people that have decided to hold their own representatives accountable, I believe that those people are going to show up and they are actually going to do what is in their best interest, which is vote against the Republicans up and down the ticket, because Donald Trump didn't do any of this by himself. He has done this with his co-conspirators that are in the House, that are in the Senate, as well as obviously this corrupt Supreme Court.
And with that, Congressman Crockett, you're not going anywhere. You're going to stay with us. I want to get your reaction to the latest on the Epstein scandal that is taking over the Trump White House. And that is next. A useless and intentional distraction. That is what one lawyer for several survivors of convicted sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein and his co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell said about the latest move by Trump's Justice Department to try to quell the backlash over their mishandling of the Epstein files. In a court filing today, the Trump Justice Department requested the unsealing of the grand jury exhibits from the Epstein and Maxwell cases, in addition to unsealing the grand jury transcripts. Jack Scarola, a lawyer for some of the survivors, told NBC News, and I'm quoting, "The pursuit of grand jury materials and transcripts is a useless and intentional distraction. We will learn nothing by chasing that rabbit." Even Trump's Justice Department admitted this week that there might not be much new in the grand jury transcripts that hasn't been publicly reported. So there's that distraction while we wait to see if Donald Trump will release an audio recording or a transcript from the interview his former defense attorney, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, conducted with Ghislaine Maxwell just 1 week before her transfer to a lower security prison camp. And more survivors of the sexual violence committed by Jeffrey Epstein keep speaking out. One wrote in a letter to the judge, quote, "I am not some pawn in your political warfare. What you have done and continue to do is eating at me day after day as you help to perpetuate this story indefinitely." In another letter, lawyers for other survivors wrote, "For survivors who bravely testified, the perception that Ms. Maxwell is being legitimized in public discourse has already resulted in re-traumatization." Oversight Democrats are urging the Republican chairman to let survivors testify to the committee. "We know the documents will not tell the full story. Furthermore, hearing Maxwell's testimony while ignoring those who were abused would only contribute to more pain for survivors, more misinformation for the public, and a failure of this committee's responsibility to pursue truth. A public hearing focused on survivors who wish to speak out would be a meaningful step towards transparency, accountability, and healing." Excuse me, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett is back with us. Congresswoman, your committee subpoenaed the Epstein files. Where are they?
I don't know. We ain't got them though. I can tell you that it was a subcommittee that is led by the incomparable Summer Lee. When they thought they were being so smart and sitting us out, there was still this hearing that was set, and it allowed for this subcommittee to go ahead in a bipartisan way subpoena those files. It took Comer a little bit before he actually sent the subpoena off. But he did finally send the subpoena off. And so I believe they get up to 30 days or so to return the documents to us. And that letter just went out. So we don't have them yet, or at least I've not been informed that we have them. And I don't anticipate that they're going to turn anything in early. But I do want to make a comment about this other kind of request that we're making. I think that for so long, there's so many women that were not believed, or if they were believed, their pain and trauma was minimized. This is why we saw the slap on the wrist for Epstein himself. And this is why now we see that this convicted felon who was given 20 years is now getting the pamper treatment. I do think it is important that we allow those that actually want to be heard, because we do live in a crazy environment where, unfortunately, sometimes speaking out and telling your truth can lead to people wishing or trying to cause some harm to you. But I do think that it is time for those that are survivors and want to be heard, for them to absolutely have a platform that is open to hearing their truth.
Chairman Comer postponed, Maxwell's deposition until the Supreme Court makes a decision on her case. What would you ask Maxwell, and do you think we'll ever find out what Todd Blanche asked her?
Yeah, here's the deal. I personally think that she's already been tainted. So I'm not really sure what I would ask her. As I've sat through some of these depositions, as well as just some of these transcribed interviews, I oftentimes listen to the majority's attorneys go through their questions that typically are not very good. And then every once in a while, you know, maybe somebody else will chime in. But honestly, as a trained attorney, I then come back and I summarize and I do my best to kind of kill any and everything that they've done that kind of doesn't make sense. So I recently had a situation like that as relates to another matter. So I will say this, I don't trust that she would ever be as transparent as we need her to be, because she wants this very corrupt president to go ahead and let her go free. And I personally really want to know about any and everybody. I don't really have this idea of I'm just wanting to know whether or not Trump is a creep, which I think we already know that. I don't know that we necessarily need to talk to her to know that he's a creep. But I want to know, like, how is it that this was allowed to go on? I want to know how deep this goes. I want to know, like, if she's aware as to why, you know, Epstein was let go with a slap on the wrist. Like, these are the things that I would want to dig into, so that any and everybody that was involved in the cover up, because the crime is absolutely horrific. But the problem is that we've had so many people that have covered for these criminals, just like we have those that are sitting in the U.S. House, the U.S. Senate, as well as the Supreme Court, that are covering for the criminal in chief that's currently in the White House.
And the best way to find out how far this goes, the question you're asking, is to release the files. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett of Texas, thank you very much for coming to The Last Word.